Chapter 41, A Second Chance to Make a First Impression. Mal's final class of the day was her favorite, freestyle painting, where she could do whatever she wanted. She was looking forward to working on her self-portrait, which covered an entire wall in the studio. When Mal turned the corner, she was surprised to find the classroom not only empty of other students and the usual mess of paints and canvases, but also sparkling clean and overwhelmed with dozens of flower arrangements. What is happening?" she said, just as Ben stepped out from behind a garland. "Mal," he said, taking her hand with a look of adoration in his eyes, "remember I wanted to ask you something?" "Sort of," she said, not quite sure what was happening, as her heart began to pound painfully in her chest. But as she glanced around the room, she got a better look at the flowers. It was sweet of him to have remembered that her favorites were black dahlias and bat orchids. The room was bursting with their sweet but spicy scents. "Mal, will you be my lady at cotillion?" he asked. She looked at Ben. Okay, she said. Ben looked so sweet and sincere kneeling before her, and of course she would do whatever he needed her to do. "Great," he said, folding her into his arms. Mal smiled, looking deep into his eyes, just as hundreds of balloons fell from the ceiling and the paparazzi came out of their hiding places, dozens of cameras flashing. "Ben, I'm so sorry. I tried to keep it a secret, but they followed you guys in here," said Jane, wringing her hands. "It's all right," said Ben. I'm sorry they're here. I wanted this just to be our moment," he added to Mal. "It's okay. You're the king. Everyone wants to know what's going on with your life," Mal said, glad that she had changed out of her torn jeans and leather jacket and worn a cute dress that Evie had loaned her as part of the beginning of her makeover. "Oh," she said, shielding her eyes from the glare of the flashes. She tried to pose prettily. "Hooray!" said Evie, rushing out to give Mal a hug, followed by Jay and Carlos, who were holding even more flowers. Jane appeared to have begun berating one of the journalists in attendance. Mal smiled at all of them, feeling as if she had just won something that she didn't quite ask for. Ben pulled her into a hug and she whispered in his ear, "By the way, what's cotillion?" "It's a dance," said Ben, waving to the cameras with kingly grace. "You get introduced to the kingdom and officially become Lady Mal." Ben looked completely happy, but now it was Mal's turn to be nervous. "Lady Mal?" That sounded fancy and serious. She never had a title before, unless you counted Mal the Worst, which is what she'd been called back on the Isle of the Lost. There were so many ways to be wicked. She could dream up so many if she tried. "Oh," she said again. "When is it?" "Soon, but there are all these events leading up to it first, sort of wrapped up with the celebration of Ordon. We're going to tour the kingdom and make sure you meet all our subjects," said Ben. Mal gritted her teeth in determination. She could do it. She would be perfect from this day forward, all the way up to cotillion. She would play the part of royal girlfriend to the hilt. "Ben, can I ask you something?" she said. "Sure, anything," he said, kissing her hand. "Can I move my mom out of the libraries and into my room? I don't think she's a threat to the kingdom as a lizard." Ben thought about it and smiled. "Yeah, I think that can be arranged." "Thanks, Ben." Mal took a deep breath. Cotillion was not too far away. Plus she had all those celebration of Ordon events to accompany Ben to. Agrabah's festival was next on the calendar, so a royal visit to Aladdin and Jasmine was in the works. She was going to do her best, she promised herself, thinking of the spellbook temporarily hidden back in her dorm room. She just had to make a few changes here and there.